The following episode of Career Day with Friends includes an interview with Major Aarik Jay Devenger. In the interview, Major Devenger shares his own opinions and views on the topics discussed. He is not officially speaking for the United States Air Force. Have you ever wondered what it's like being a part of a NASCAR pit crew?
Just to have the opportunity to try to make the Daytona 500, it was like a dream come true.
What about what it's like working with artificial intelligence in the United States Air Force?
Through artificial intelligence, we're actually able to do pretty incredible emulation of what we know our enemy might look like or might do.
Or what it takes to pursue a career as a professional mascot.
If you want to be on the level of a professional, skydiving is one of the things to check off.
That and so much more.
DC superheroes crush local businessman.
If you want an unbiased story, oftentimes, I can't say every time, you can trust local news, your local reporters.
With wellness, everyone's on their own journey.
Like, I'm playing full time. Like, that's what I get to do.
I'm your host, Brian Haynes, and welcome back to another season of Career Day with Friends. Hello there, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Career Day with Friends. Today's guest is a diehard New England Patriots fan who currently serves as a major in the United States Air Force. He is currently stationed in Montgomery, Alabama at Air Command and Staff College, where the top 10% of Air Force majors are selected. He recently earned a new professional certification from the MIT X-Pro Tech program on designing and building AI products, which is what brings us to our show today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show Major Aarik Jay Devenger. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is my maiden podcast, so I appreciate it very much. This will be fun.
Awesome, man. I'm excited. Before we get started, over under 8.5 wins for the Pats this year.
Oof, I'm still thinking under, man. So
yeah,
I don't have the highest hopes. Last year I was like over under 4, and I don't even think we got 4. So I do love that we just got Stephon Diggs. I think we're going in the right direction. Love Rabel, but we need some more love and some more time to build this team.
We need some big guys up front. That's what we need.
That's what we need.
Well, listen, the premise of the show is basically I'm just going to ask you a series of questions, mostly professional, some personal, and we're going to wrap it up with a fun game at the end. So what do you say? You ready to go?
Love it. Love games.
Now, you worked at Hanscom Air Force Base in Concord, Mass. For 4 years. Can you talk about your work on the U-2 spy plane and RQ-4 Global Hawk, as well as your involvement with the Survivable Air Operations Center? I will never get that right.
Yeah, I just can say the military loves acronyms, so SAOC for short for that
Perfect.
One. I did two different jobs while I was at Hanscom. So first of all, Hanscom is a very data and information, electronic warfare, ISR, so intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance type base, versus things that do like bombs and bullets and missiles, right? So this is more of a information type of base support and communications. So the first thing we did for the U-2 spy plane and the RQ-4, those are what we call high altitude air breathing ISR assets. So when I say ISR, I just mean intelligence and monitoring of things and stuff, we'll say. So the U-2 is a storied aircraft going way back, as far as like the 70s in the Cold War. And the U-2 is really great at taking pictures of things and sensing things. But that data needs to get off of that airplane and get down to an intelligence analyst as soon as possible. So where I came in and the job that I did was I was responsible for the satellite communications and the terrestrial, meaning ground communications for that aircraft, and making sure that we got that data to the people who could do something with it as fast as possible, and that we could process that data and hand it in a meaningful way to an analyst to say, hey, I know what I'm looking at. It's here at this time, at this place. We should do something about it. RQ-4 is a drone. So it's a long loiter time drone. It can loiter for almost a day in the air without needing to be refueled. And there's no pilot aboard. Someone with a joystick is flying somewhere. for the aircraft. But the U-2 is obviously a manned platform that flies on the edge of space.
Okay. And as far as the data you're collecting, is that just kind of intel from different places? Is that what exactly are you targeting as far as the
So
data goes?
as far as I can talk about it, it's mostly
Mhm.
imagery. So think like
Okay.
radar imagery or electro-optical imagery of things. So think like monitoring movement of equipment, like enemy equipment, monitoring movement of people, massing of things in certain areas, so you can tell if an enemy is doing something of interest. You might be spying deep into enemy territory, looking at an airplane that they're developing, and we want to get some images of to study
Okay.
it, like that sort of thing.
In what ways can AI benefit the military?
Yeah, so I could probably talk to you ad nauseum
I know.
about this. I think it's really, really cool that we're getting into this. Most people, when they hear artificial intelligence, they think basically ChatGPT at this point, right? They think
Yeah.
large language models, LLMs. They plug in a question and it answers very intelligently. Of course, that has military applications. Probably even more so in like the information warfare space. But where the Air Force is trying to capitalize on artificial intelligence is mostly around autonomy and human machine teaming. So basically taking a human being and extending them with a digital kind of presence and being able to be hyper effective at a given thing.
Like
So
Terminator?
yeah, yeah, exactly. No, but like I don't know if you've heard of the Loyal Wingman program or Collaborative Combat Aircraft (CCA).
No.
So that's something that's coming down the line with Anduril. Anduril is a really cool company that's building basically autonomous drones that would pair up with a manned jet, and they would share information with each other and be able to do things and that would otherwise individually they couldn't do. They're going to be building off of each other and working together to actually accomplish a mission set. So we call that man-machine teaming, where these machines are talking to each other and the humans can kind of interact and take data from these various machines and do pretty
Okay.
amazing things. And the other thing that we're really interested in is data fusion. So if you think about airplanes and ground-based sensors and satellite sensors all over the world, there's so much data, just an immense amount of data that's available to analysts and warfighters and also commanders who are in command and control. We call command and control of the people who are doing the things and stuff out there for us. Basically, what artificial intelligence and machine learning can do is make sense of this insane amount of data that a human just simply can't do. So this data comes in, is processed with algorithms and artificial intelligence algorithms, and presents that data in a way that is actionable and to a decision maker, and allows us to go extremely fast in that decision loop. We call that, some people have called that decision superiority, and that's something that we want to do much better than, say, an adversary. We want to be able to get information, sense it, make sense of it, and then act on that information faster than they can do the same thing, and that will give us an advantage. And that's something that AI can do for us if we do it right.
Do you feel, and it's okay if you can't answer this, but do you feel like if other countries are already kind of using this technology, that because of our ethical standards and integrity, we're kind of falling behind a little bit? Or is it more like we have the technology, we know how to use it, we're on the same level, we're just not using it in the same way?
No, see that you're asking the right questions, Ryan, which I really like that your brain went here. It's like that's
Okay.
actually pretty impressive. So like I don't believe that we're falling behind. We are still ahead. United States does have the most quality artificial intelligence research in the world. We don't put out as many published research papers as China does,
Okay.
but there's also quality over quantity in that. We have the most AI talent here. People want to come study here, and we have the most incredible compute ability here with companies like NVIDIA that China just doesn't really have the access to as fast as we do. So I don't think that we're falling behind. We just like to think very carefully about how we uh, implement war making activities.
Hmm.
We also don't know for sure because we haven't seen China in a war in like 70 years or something like that. So
Right.
we don't actually know what they would truly do. But we know through our own methods that they are not as focused on the ethical considerations of things. And Russia, if you've seen what's been going on in Ukraine and the things in Syria, they very clearly don't care about who and what they're killing.
Hmm.
So United States, as a global leader, a global hegemon, we have been a hegemon for years. We try to lead the liberal world, and part of those are values of trying to be very careful about who we are harming, and try and do that very intentionally, to win the support of the folks that are depending on us, and that takes more time. So you could look at it as autocratic governments like China and Russia typically are a bit more streamlined in how they can build on and field things, but oftentimes that can get you into trouble too. United
Hmm.
States takes a slower, more deliberate, innovative approach, but in the end, we typically get it right, and the world kind of understands that. It doesn't feel like sometimes that's the case, but being in this space, I can tell you, we typically get it right, whether it takes a little bit longer or not.
Now, as far as training, so AI is heavily used in training procedures now. Is that more of like a virtual reality thing where they're kind of uploading these situations that can occur in battle or that you might find yourself in versus something a little bit more dangerous and hands-on?
I would say that it's both.
Okay.
So you do have a lot of training now. You're seeing training pop up for pilots, for maintainers, people that are going to be touching jets, turning wrenches, where they're wearing augmented reality or virtual reality goggles, and they can see the thing that they're working on in the digital way, and they can interact with it, and they can see their technical orders right there, like the step-by-step instructions of what they're supposed to be doing. Same with a pilot, they can see their cockpit and they can get their instructions of what they're supposed to be doing, their checklist. So it's
Okay.
an entirely new way to train, which I think is absolutely amazing, but something that is less commonly known. And I'll probably stay high level with this one, but years ago, the Air Force implemented this thing called Red Flag. And Red Flag is a way that our pilots of all types, mobility pilots, ISR pilots, attack pilots, fighters, bombers, would come together, usually over the West Coast area and the Nevada area, and fly. They fly against simulated enemy, simulated and actual non-simulated enemies. So you'd have actual people and other planes flying and fighting you, and you'd have to
Okay.
conduct an air battle against these. And where I'm going with this is through artificial intelligence, we're actually able to do pretty incredible emulation of what we know our enemy might look like or might do. So when our pilots are flying, their actual HUD and their sensors and their airplane are being fed kind of data from artificial intelligence. That's like, oh, you have a threat. Oh, another threat. Oh, another threat. Oh, look at this thing. Oh, that's probably a decoy. And they're actually interacting with artificial intelligence training aids that make them more lethal pilots. And that's something that I think is going to be super critical for us to be able to do if we want to conduct an air battle against a high end threat or a near peer like China or Russia.
All right. So, what's up with these swarm drones? Like, I read that they're kind of like bees and they can relay information to, like, they basically gather information on their own and then relay them to the rest of the team. Like, how the heck does that work? And have you ever had like exposure to any of those?
So I'll tell you, uh, from the U.S. Air Force perspective,
Mhm.
I if we're doing like drone swarming, um, I'm not privy to that, and I don't know
Okay.
which Farm Office is doing that. But I'll tell you that one of the areas that I do believe we are most likely behind, and I can't say that with absolute certainty. So if any of my colleagues listen to this and they're chirping me right now because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know that China is very good at this. This is something that they've demonstrated, over and over again with hundreds, if not thousands, of drones that are all talking to each other, and being able to do pretty incredible coordinated things. And the idea of swarming to negate the use of an exquisite weapon system like an airplane or a missile by the use of a couple $100 drones that are talking to each other is a very real threat for us. And we have to be very careful of what China and most likely Russia are doing in this space. China has a huge research effort in autonomous drones and swarming. I like to think that the United States recognizes the utility of drones. It's been beaten into us over and over again here at Air Command and Staff College, looking and examining the Ukraine war scenario. We know that drones are prolific on both sides of the forward line of troops, or the front line in Ukraine. And we know that is super impactful. So we're talking about how can we use it and how can we counter it. And we know China has invested here. So I really do hope that we are thinking through these things. But in terms of, are we planning drone swarms? I couldn't answer that. I don't know. But you gotta where there's smoke, there's fire. So I assume that we're thinking through that stuff.
All right. Can you tell us anything? I know you got a big adventure coming up and a big move in the near future. Can you tell us anything about that move and kind of what your aspirations are moving forward?
Yeah. So I'm 12 and a half years in. I'm what they call a field grade officer now. So I'm a major. I'm about to promote next year sometime to lieutenant colonel. And a lot of times at this phase in the major to young lieutenant colonel timeframe, officers in the Air Force are being asked to do what they call a staff job, which sounds insanely boring to most people, I'm sure. But when you go to the Pentagon, you're often doing a staff type of job. You're working for someone or someone's of great importance, and you're working on their staff, and you are doing specific pieces of work for them. In this case, I'm going to work for the Undersecretary of the Air Force for Acquisition, so SAF AQ for short. And I'm an acquisition officer in the Air Force, which means I buy things and stuff for the Air Force. So that could be weapon systems, it could be services, it could be IT services, it could be any amount of boring things or really exciting things. And I've done the whole range. But when I go to the Pentagon, I'm going to be working at the Secretary of the Air Force kind of level, headquarters Air Force level, which for layman's terms, we call corporate Air Force. I'm going to go work for the big corporate Air Force. And I'm going to be basically a portfolio type analyst called a program element monitor, or PEM. And I'll be looking across the Air Force programs, representing them both to our Air Force, or our corporate Air Force, as well as Congress.
It's pretty interesting how far we come over time, because that's kind of how the show came about, is that you don't really know people's journeys. Like, you know what they do, but you don't really know how far they've come in their career. And now, being in our 30s, we're like the experts in our field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not green anymore. Like, we're the ones making the calls, we're the ones in charge. So it's just interesting to catch up with people and hear their stories and listen to things like that, where like, I know, like as far as I know, you were doing something fun with drones before, and that's all I knew. But now, Lieutenant Colonel, that's some pretty serious stuff. So, I'm not surprised. Like, you are a very confident, you're very strong, you're a very motivated person. You've always been that way, and I really respect that about you. And just what a cool time to be doing what you're doing with like AI advancements the way they are. And it's just really cool what you're doing, what you're up to.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's going to be a really exciting time for those keeping up with, politics, going to the Pentagon right now, in a couple months, rather, in June. Lots of turmoil, lots of change going on in the national capital region, and I'll be in the center of all of that in the corporate Air Force. So I hope to keep fighting the good fight for the Air Force and advocating for a really important mission set. And the Air Force, we're talking about, people are always talking about cutting budgets, but the Air Force is an area that will be of the most paramount importance if we go to war with someone like Russia or China, and we need to be treated as such from a budget perspective, and hopefully I can impart some value to that when I get there.
So we're going to do something fun here. We're going to play a game, and this is how we're going to wrap it up. And it's called What Comes Next. So I'm going to play a clip from a movie. You're going to watch the clip. After the clip, you're going to tell me what movie it is for 1 point. And for 2 additional points, I'm going to ask a follow-up question about what comes next in the scene. So you can max out at 3 points per clip. Make sense?
Oh boy. Okay.
All right.
What comes next?
You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Is this your idea of fun, man? Greetings.
All right. What's the movie?
It's Top Gun, the original.
Yep. All right. What's going to come next in that scene?
Well, I can tell you what he says he's doing. That he was communicating with the pilot by giving him the bird.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's something that Goose does.
Takes a picture.
All right. Let's see if you're right.
Takes a picture, I think, with his Polaroid.
Let's see.
Watch the birdie. Jeez, I cracked myself up. This is a great shot, man. I should be a photographer.
Yes.
All right, man. So 3 points so far. All right, you're off to a good start. All right, here's the second one. It's a little shorter.
Where'd you get this, mail?
Subic Base, Philippines, sir.
Ah, thought I recognized the work. Be proud of them wings.
Oh my
God.
God.
What's the movie? And then what's the nickname that Richard Gere gets after that clip?
You're gonna hate me. I don't recognize this movie. If I've seen it, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. I feel terrible that I don't know about this movie.
All right. So this movie was, I think, 1978, An Officer and a Gentleman. His name is Mayo. He gets the nickname Mayonnaise. And here's the clip.
They're the only ones you're gonna leave here with. Mayonnaise.
That's amazing. All right.
That's a great movie. You got to watch it again. All right. Third one here. We got 2 more left.
Hey, is it a little too early for being that loud? Hey, too late. It's 0600. What's the O stand for?
What's the O stand for? And what movie is it?
He says, "Good morning, Vietnam," and 0 stands for "Oh my God, it's early" or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh my God, it's early. Speaking of early.
Oh, 3 points. All right. Last one. Here we go.
What movie is that from, though?
Good Morning, Vietnam.
Good Morning, Vietnam. Okay, so
yeah.
I know
you didn't say it was the movie,
famous.
but you said it, so we're good. I'm counting it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Last one.
I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Movie and what's the truth? Yes, and what's going to be the iconic question that Tom Cruise asks in the next scene?
I watched this movie not too long ago. What does he say? What does he ask him? I can't remember. Ryan, you have to play it.
What's the movie? I always forget this one too.
I was about to say Officer and Gentleman, but
that's what I call it. That's what I call it.
I know. That's the other one. Oh my God. My brain is failing on me. All my military friends are going to be like, this guy sucks.
Nothing?
No, I can't remember it. And you're going to say it, and I'm like, obviously. It's
yes. A Few Good Men.
Few Good Men.
I always call it An Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah, I mean.
Always. I'm not the only one. All right, here we go.
It feels like it fits.
Yeah.
Did you order the code red? I did the job. Did you order the code red? You're goddamn right I did.
Did you order the code red?
Code red, and yes, you're goddamn right. I ordered it.
All right, man. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, this is really cool what you do, man. So thank you very much, and hopefully I'm gonna add this to my my lineup, my podcast lineup.
Yes, do that and share it. And
I
like
will.
and subscribe and follow and all that shit.
All the things.
If you enjoyed this episode, tune in every Thursday on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts at Career Day Friends Pod. Video recordings are available on our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, like and follow our socials on Instagram and Facebook at, you guessed it, Career Day Friends Pod. If you're interested in sharing cool stories from your own career and want to come on the show, please reach out to us via email at careerdayfriendspod@gmail.com. Share these great stories with your friends and family. These people really deserve it. And thank you so much for listening.